So the investing legend Warren Buffett recently sat down for an interview, and he did not hold back, especially on CEO pay. He laid out two, and only two, core strategies that have basically let executive salaries just spiral completely out of control. And honestly, when you hear them, the whole system starts to make a weird, kind of twisted kind of sense. You know, it's the question we all ask ourselves every single time we see one of those headlines about some massive payout. How? How do these compensation packages get so ridiculously big? It feels like there has to be some kind of hidden system at work. And according to Buffett, well, that's because there is.
To really wrap your head around the scale of what we're talking about, you just need to remember one number, 280. That's how many times more the average CEO of a major company makes compared to their typical worker. But let me tell you, it was not always this way, not even close.
All right, so let's dig into that 280 to 1 number, because it really sets the stage for the two strategies Buffett is about to lay out for us.
I mean, check this out. If you rewind all the way back to 1965, the pay gap was about 21 to 1. Yeah, still significant, but nothing like what we see today. Then, you hit the 1990s, and it just skyrockets. And even after bubbles burst, the paydays stayed way, way up there. And that's how we landed at this crazy 280 to 1 ratio.
And that ratio isn't just an abstract number, right? It translates into some absolutely staggering real-world cash, especially in big tech. You got Sundar Pichai at Google taking home $226 million, Satya Nadella at Microsoft, $96 million, Tim Cook, $75 million. These are the direct results of the system that Buffett is about to break down for us.
So how on earth does this actually happen? Well, this brings us to Buffett's first big strategy. He calls it the ratcheting effect. And it all starts with a process that, on the surface, seems totally reasonable, but it has a fatal flaw.
And here it is, straight from the man himself. The entire system is built on something so simple, so human. Good old-fashioned envy and comparison. The minute you show a CEO what their peers are making, you create this unstoppable upward pressure on their own pay. It's just human nature.
Okay, so here's the play-by-play. A company hires a compensation consultant. That consultant puts together a peer group of similar CEOs, and then they rank all their pay into quartiles, bottom, middle, top. Then they go to the board and say, hey, your CEO is right here. Now, if their CEO is below the median, what do you think that board does? You guessed it. They almost always approve a raise.
You can literally picture it as a game of leapfrog. One CEO gets a raise to hit that median. Well, what does that do? It automatically pushes some other poor CEO down into a lower quartile. So then that CEO's board does the exact same thing. And the whole median just keeps ratcheting up year after year after year. And here's the key part. It often has nothing to do with how the company is actually performing.
Yeah, Buffett has a much, much blunter way of putting it. He says the consultants just go ratchet, and bingo. And it's a game they absolutely cannot lose. I mean, think about it. The founder of Vanguard, Jack Bogle, he pointed out that a consulting firm that got famous for recommending lower pay wouldn't stay in business for very long, would it?
Okay, so you've got this obviously flawed consulting process, but you might be thinking, shouldn't there be a fail-safe? Shouldn't someone be stopping this? And that brings us right to Buffett's second pillar, the very people who are supposed to protect shareholders from exactly this kind of thing.
And on paper, that failsafe exists. It's called the independent director. These folks, they aren't employees. They sit on the compensation committee, and their entire job, their whole reason for being there, is to bring objective oversight to decisions like CEO pay. They're the guardrails.
Sounds pretty good, right? A consultant comes in with some crazy pay package, and the independent directors are there to just say, nope, not happening. So, what's the problem? Well, the problem, as always, is the incentive structure.
And here is the punchline, again, from Buffett. He calls being an independent director the best job in the world. And why is that? Because you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for just showing up to a few meetings. And the only real requirement? Don't make waves. Don't challenge the CEO. And whatever you do, don't question the consultants. Just be agreeable.
And this isn't just a funny anecdote. This has huge real-world consequences. It leads to the rise of what you could call professional directors, people who just sit on multiple boards collecting paychecks basically for nodding along. This is how you get situations like in 2008, where the CEOs of major banks got huge bonuses even while their stock prices were collapsing. The whole system is designed to protect itself, not the shareholders.
So, if that's the broken system we're all living with, Is there a better way? Is there a totally different way of thinking about CEO pay that could actually break this cycle of ratcheting and, well, friendly boards?
You can really boil this all down to two totally opposing philosophies. You've got the ratchet system we've been talking about, which is all based on what your peers are making. But then there's the alignment system, which is based purely on performance. In that system, the CEO only gets that massive payday if the shareholders also get a massive payday.
A really famous and really controversial example of this alignment system is Elon Musk's 2018 pay package from Tesla. Now, look, whatever you think of the final number, the structure of the deal is absolutely fascinating.
So here's how it was set up. Musk's pay was broken into 12 different stages. But to unlock each stage, Tesla had to hit these incredibly ambitious targets for both its market value and its internal goals, like revenue. And if he missed those goals, he got absolutely nothing. Zero. His pay was 100% tied to long-term shareholder returns.
And this gets to the heart of why it became so controversial. From the shareholders' point of view, it worked perfectly. The company's value exploded, they got incredibly rich, so they felt he earned every penny. But from the public's perspective, the idea of one single person making $56 billion just feels wrong. It just goes to show you that even a system based on performance isn't a simple, clean solution.
At the end of the day, this whole thing, everything we've talked about, it really boils down to this one brilliant mental model from Buffett's late partner, Charlie Munger. Show me the incentive, and I'll show you the outcome. It explains literally everything.
The ratchet system, it incentivizes keeping up with your peers and keeping the board happy. The alignment system, it incentivizes creating long-term shareholder value. So the question this leaves us with isn't really about which system is better. It's much simpler and much more powerful than that. It's, whatever system we choose, what outcome are we really incentivizing?